Good morning, guys. It is almost, well, 4:30 a.m. and I figured now would be a very good time to teach you all how to use the new WordPress editor. Okay, so what you're going to do is after you log in, you're going to go on the left-hand side and you're going to go to Post, and then you're going to click Add New. Come on. Okay. Awesome. Alright, so the title is a bit finicky because even if you type in lowercase, it comes out in all capitals. Even if you type in all capitals, it comes out as all capitals, which it should. But we are still sticking with our usual protocol, which is every single word is capitalized. And I know it looks like what you just inputted isn't correct, but it should be correct once we do the previews. Also keep in mind that the word and is not spelled as A-N-D, but rather it's used with this symbol, which I can't remember the name of, but you get what I'm saying. So for this article, we'll just title it Training and Tutorial Article. Haha. So this editor is the Gutenberg editor, which I actually like over the previous one because it's very smooth and integrated. The biggest change is the block system, which is this little plus sign right here. You're going to click on it and it's going to come up with various options. The one that we are mainly going to use for writing our articles and our body paragraphs is paragraph. So you'll just select that and it'll let you start typing. So for this, we'll just, actually, I have a little excerpt that we will just copy pasta. There we go. Okay. So this, highlight please, this is our body. As you can see, this block says it's the paragraph. Font size should be default, nothing in custom. Color settings, text color should be black. You shouldn't have to play around with this at all. So that's what it should look like. Also, it should be align text to the left. So that's our body paragraph. This is going to be our header, which you could just type it as is, and then when you're feeling like you want to change it to a heading, you click heading. Now it's going to automatically change to heading 2. For now, we'll just use heading 1 because I really don't know what the editors have decided on in terms of which heading we want to use, but for now, just do heading 1. Again, make sure this is aligned to the left. And again, you shouldn't have to play around with any of these settings. And that's your heading, which, again, so easy, right? Also, make sure that every single word is capitalized, doesn't matter what word it is. And again, if the word and is there, make sure you use this fancy little symbol. So, after the header, there is the body paragraph again. You can also do Shift Enter to keep writing within the same block or paragraph without going into the next one, but most of the time I just click enter. It's not a big deal. But let's say that you want to add a picture, so you can skip to the next block, click this little plus sign, and go to image. A couple of different options here. You can upload from your own personal computer library. A lot of the times we will have to do this. You can do it from the article itself, or you can go back into WordPress and say that you have a ton of pictures that you need to upload. You can go back to WordPress you can go into media, click add new, and then you can just drop your files in here. A couple of notes about this: while you can upload huge pictures, like things that are bigger than 1,000 pixels, I highly suggest you don't, because one, it's going to make it a lot harder for you to work with your article because WordPress has to load all of the images that you placed, but we are going to quickly run out of storage in WordPress if you guys are uploading gigantic photos. So I ask that you guys edit your photos down in Photoshop. I can't really afford Photoshop, so I just use GIMP, which is it's a free photo editor software, but there's tons of them online you can find. If you do upload your photos, try and keep them around 600 pixels wide. You could probably get away with something a little bit bigger than that, but try and keep them relatively around 600 pixels wide. So after you've added in your bulk photos, you're going to go back into your post. Oh, how nice of you to save my backup. Thank you, WordPress. Okay, so we're going to stick our image in here, image. I actually don't have any pictures for this mock article, which is kind of sad, but we'll just go into our media library. And we'll just use this. This looks like a peppermint scrub, even though I know it's not. So, in our captions, generally we want to give credit to whoever took the photo. This is how you will type in the photo credit. We don't do photo by, we don't do by, we do photo credit, colon, and then the person's name. Okay, so this is a pretty big picture. It's a little bit too big, but it's a nice picture. For now, we just stick to the default style. I mean, rounded looks nice. Feel free to do this if you want. I don't think we have anything against this particular style. Some of our ads kind of have this rounded look to them, but most of the time we just stick to default. No biggie. Image settings. This we will have to tinker with quite a bit. So the image size is large. We can go medium, but that's a little bit too tiny. So we're going to go back, go to, well, we could do full size, but that's 2,000 pixels. So that's a bit too much. So we'll go back to large. So you see the dimensions right here, it's 900. You could go in, type in 600, and it'll automatically scale. Personally, I kind of just prefer to press this button. Still a bit too big. This button maybe? Okay, that's fine. Next, we want to make sure that this is aligned in the center. I don't know why this is not a default setting for our images. I wish it was, but I don't know how to fix that. So, after you're done with your article, the very last thing you want to do is to insert your bottom ads. This used to be something that the editors would do after you guys are done. It was a complicated process. It was a messy process. It was not fun. So, click the plus button, go to bottom ads, wait a few seconds. There we go. So this will auto-populate. This particular block pulls from a page that Joel so nicely made for us. The editors can go in and edit it if we need to. Our writers You won't need to touch any of this. Just make sure you add in the bottom ads so that people who paid for ads will see it on every single article that we post. But that's basically it. It's really nice. The editors and the writers can do this. And that's it for the article itself. Now, the second part is to go to post. This is visibility. You want to make sure this is set to public. Sometimes we will draft an article and we'll set it to private because maybe we need somebody else to look at the article that doesn't have access to WordPress or something, and we'll set it to private, but generally public. Another thing that some of us will use is the publish function. Sometimes we want an article to be published in the future. Sometimes we want to backdate it. You can change all of these settings and the like over here by clicking on immediately. You can even change the time that this gets published, which is very nice. Stick to the top of the blog. Generally won't do this. Generally won't check this box either, so make sure these are clear. You can also close this tab. Yoast, I will get into this later. Permalink, URL slug, training tutorial article. Most of the time this will autofill pulling from your title. So if this is blank, just do each word hyphen. Why is this a double hyphen? So one word, hyphen, next word, hyphen, next word. You want to use main words, so try and avoid words like and or of or the. But this will become the permalink or permanent link that people will use to get to your article once it's published. Very important this gets populated. Categories. We've been having some issues with people not being able to see the categories. When you click on it, just wait a few seconds for it to populate. Very, very important. Every article should have only one category selected. We do not want uncategorized to be selected because it doesn't go there. Most of the time you will choose community events, so what falls under this is, say, the Giant Pumpkin Festival, or maybe since it's almost the holidays, maybe you're attending like the tree lighting ceremony at District 56, things of that nature. Even city council meetings will fall onto this. Business and food, relatively easy. Also, restaurant reviews will fall under this one. Business directory, don't technically use it. Community events, why are there two of them? Okay. Community spotlight is generally something that the editors will do. Sometimes we'll have one of the other writers do it as well. Health and lifestyle is something that is a new category. We are starting to populate this as well. If you have any ideas for health and lifestyle, feel free to tell the editors because we desperately need something for this category. News and crime watch is generally things that happen that don't have to do with the community, like a child goes missing, or maybe an elderly person leaves their home and their families are looking for them. Car accidents are a big one that goes under here. Basically things that are kind of breaking news, has to do with crime. Burglaries are a big one that go in here. Obituaries don't really get a lot of attention, but if we ever do an obituary, they go here. Op-eds, writers, you generally won't be using this one. Most of the editors will handle these op-eds. They tend to come from outside writers, or we copy pasta. Something that someone else has written to us. Real estate and finance, again, this category could use some love. If you have any ideas for real estate, again, with a focus on Elk Grove and perhaps Wilton, or just any general finance advice. If you have any ideas, hit us up. But remember, one category needs to be selected. Don't ever select uncategorized. Tags. I have been having issues with this, but tags are, I want to describe them as words or subjects that are popular in the particular article you're writing about. Now, with every single article that you do write, you have to make sure you put in Elk Grove, comma, and that separates the tags, and you want to put in Elk Grove News, comma, to separate the tags. With this one, we will type in, body scrub, why not? And there you go. For some reason, I have only been able to put in maybe 3 or 4 tags. It is not uncommon for an article to have 10 or so tags if the article is big enough. Let us know if for some reason you're not able to add in more than 3 or 4 tags. I'm having this issue. I'm not sure how to fix it, but you should be able to add in as many tags as you need. So we'll close that. Featured image. Okay, so featured image. Let's just do this real quick. You click a feature image, grab an image. We'll do this. So the featured image, you don't really have to worry too much about how big it is. Well, actually, no, you do. At least make sure it is 600 pixels wide. It can be bigger than that. I generally don't want it any smaller than 600 because then we have issues with it looking wonky, especially on the mobile side. But the biggest change about this is with the featured image, we don't want to add in the featured image again in the body of the post, because what's going to happen is when you preview the article, it's going to show the featured image and then the body image, and it just looks redundant. So just do one featured image, don't add it into the body. It's one less step for you guys, and that's it. Excerpt. I know it says optional, but we are going to write one because it helps to populate things, makes it look nice all over the website, and also kind of helps us be found by Google. So, an excerpt. Let's see. This is a training and tutorial article for our writers. Something like that. Something easy, kind of sums up what the article is about. Discussion is a new one. Please uncheck comments. Make sure you allow pingbacks and trackbacks. In the past, comments haven't been very nice on WordPress, and it's kind of hard for us to moderate the comments. Most of the discussion that we have happen is on our Facebook page, which is a little bit easier for us to moderate. Okay, so this part is done. Now we're going to go to the readability and the Yoast. So SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. It is basically when you open a tab or open Google and you type in something that you want to look for, like Christmas cookies, and you type it in and Google populates with a ton of different entries and search options for you. It's a big thing to make sure, it's a big deal to make sure that these key phrases that we put in are ones that people would look for when they want an information about a certain article, like say who won the Elk Grove race. Well, for an article like that, you would type in mayor or something of that nature. But for this little mock article, fairly certain that the word gift would be a key phrase. Now, did you see how this went from gray to orange? We want our keywords to turn green, like this little happy face. Sometimes it won't, Generally, orange to green is acceptable. We don't want red. If you can avoid getting red, please do so. One of the ways that you can find a key phrase within your article is to look for words that are repeated a lot. Like, I specifically put in the word gift a lot within this little mock article. And sometimes your tags also will help you figure out what your keywords should be. We want 5 keywords. That's what we've done in the past. Make sure in your keywords that you also put in Elk Grove or Elk Grove News, because that is also a keyword that we get tons of hits on from Google. This new thing with the Google preview is new. I don't quite know exactly how it works yet, but it looks like it just shows you what this would look like on Google. This is the mobile version, this is the desktop version, and actually the mobile version looks quite nice. Okay, so SEO title, I'm pretty sure that we don't touch any of this, but we want to make sure the slug is there. It's going to look very similar to the permanent link for the article itself. But the big one is the meta description. The meta description is what shows up when Google vomits out results for any searches that you make. It's going to be basically this stuff right underneath the link. It's very similar to the excerpt that you wrote over here. Okay, so you see how when I started typing there was this orange bar. We want to get this bar to fill up and turn green. Okay, now it's turned green. There is a character limit, so try not to add too much. If you write too much, it turns red, and Google doesn't like that. So try and get it up to green if you can. And then over here is the SEO analysis, and basically it says gift is it's an okay key phrase, and Google will tell us our analysis about the article itself. Excuse me. There's a couple of things that will make your article turn green. Outbound links and internal links. Internal links are links that we post into the article that links to another article within the Elk Grove Tribune website. If you can somehow manage to put in internal links into an article, that's great. Google loves that. We try not to add in outbound links, especially not from other news sites, unless it's something we just can't avoid. A lot of the times we will also put in GoFundMe accounts for families that have had an accident or some other tragedy. We want to make sure we help them out. Key phrase in the meta description is also something to bump up your green color. A single title. Google likes having more than one header. I think 2 or 3 will generally pop this up to an orange or a green. Google also likes it if you put the key phrase in the title. This one will generally pop green if you do it almost all the time. And then Google will also give you a couple of improvements. Now, the biggest one that I think a lot of people struggle with is, where are you? You're not here. Okay, interesting. Okay, so the biggest one that I know a lot of our writers struggle with are the transition words that flow from sentence to sentence. If you struggle with this, what you can do is type into Google transition words SEO, and you'll get a ton of articles telling you what sort of words work as a transition word, what phrases work for transition words. I have a couple of these articles bookmarked for myself because I sometimes have a brain fart and don't know what to use for a transition word. But good results are things in green. And that's basically Google's way of saying, hey, you did a good job. The rest of this, cornerstone content, insights, you can just ignore. All of this you can also ignore as well. If you are adding a video for some reason to this article, I don't quite know how to use that yet, but if you are adding one, reach out to the editors and we'll see what we can do. So, after all of this is done, we're going to go back up here. We're going to hit preview, and there's a couple of different options: desktop, tablet, mobile. I prefer desktop because that's generally where I do most of my work. So generating preview. Still generating preview. Okie dokie. So remember what I said about the featured image? If we had added another image in the body, it would just look very redundant and not very pretty. So we just won't. But here is the photo. Make sure it is aligned in the center. And oh, this part also needs to be aligned in the center. And I don't know why it's not, but you can change that back here. Line center. Line center. Interesting. Probably something to look into. Anyway, so ads are on the bottom, and that's pretty much it. You can also close this, go back to preview, check mobile. Interesting. So apparently it looks like only the mobile version is up for view on the actual editor side. That doesn't show on a desktop preview. How interesting. Okay, so we'll go back to desktop. Anyway, you want to make sure you preview your post before you hit publish, because sometimes there's things that you can miss. And once that's done, you can go over to post, status and visibility, and leave it as is. Don't publish yet. Let the editors know that you're done with your article, and then we will look it over and set the publication options. So that's it. If you guys have any questions about how to use this new WordPress editor, feel free to message me or Chris or Rachel or Sunny or Jax. But for now, Chris, Rachel, and I are the ones that are on hand to help any of you guys out. So hope you guys have a very good holiday.